Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another WNBA Fanduel lineup advice video here at DFS Zone. And before I continue with the video, like always, man, appreciate you guys drop a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed as of yet to this channel, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on those notifications. This way you do not miss any of my new uploads. And before I continue on with the video for today, man, first things first, what a heck of a night for the WNBA. I mean, these games last night, Vegas must be going insane. They had Chicago as 7.5-point underdogs, and Chicago goes in, plays probably the best game of the year. I had told you guys that Chicago is very, very dangerous at home. They have won 4 games against good opposition. They could be don't sleep on them, and absolutely, they came out and played hard. And they won themselves a great game. I mean, you had Vandersloot had an amazing game. I mean, she had a triple-double. She had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 15 assists. I just need to really talk about this real quickly, guys. It's just simply because this is what you just don't know with DFS. You know, I told you that, I also mentioned that I felt that Los Angeles was going to kill Indiana, and Indiana goes in there and they do the opposite. They go in there and they shut them down, no different than what they did, and made it difficult for them, like they did with the Lynx back in Minnesota a couple weeks back. And you say to yourself, why these teams are not playing this way on a regular basis? Chicago has a lot of talent, and I've said that before on this channel. Miss Copper, unbelievable game, 23 points, 9 of 10 shooting. She shot 90% from the floor. That's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. A very outstanding game by Chicago. I think it was a record breaker, the most points ever by the Chicago Sky. Obviously, the first triple-double in Chicago Sky history, I think, for Vandersloot. I had her in multiple lineups, and I had mentioned to you guys that I felt she was a very good play. I was really on her, and she came off and had a great game. When you look at the Los Angeles game, man, Los Angeles, I don't know where they go from here. I mean, to be totally honest with you, this is a bad, bad loss for them. They came in 1-2 and 2-3 over the course of the last 5 games, and 1-2 at home, and they come out and they put up this kind of performance. Now, let's tip our caps off to the Indiana front court. Indiana front court came to play. Mr. Dupree, 7 of 14, shot 50% from the floor, 16.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Natalie Achanwa, 70% from the floor, 7 of 10 shooting, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals. I told you guys that I was all over Pondexter in the revenge game, right? She shot a little poorly. She took 16 shots. I figured she would take a lot of shots if she had the opportunity. She shot 6 of 16, 37%. Did put up 16 floor points. Had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. I mean, she gave me some great fantasy points. So I am pleased with that. And then Vivian's from the backcourt. Nothing from Indiana from the backcourt. I just don't get it. I mean, this team is so poor offensively that, as you can see, they needed to squeak out a 78-76 win here. So disappointing night for Los Angeles. Good night for Indiana. Awesome night for Chicago. I cashed in 1 or 2 lineups, very, very little. I was in all the lineups for quite a while there, but towards the end, it's just some teams, some players just didn't hold up. Vandersloot was big. She had a big game. Pondexter was great on my after hours. I actually had her a shout out real quickly to Brandon Silver. Brandon Silver was telling me, hey, we've been hitting each other up on Instagram, and he basically telling me, hey, you know what, I mean, in other words, you don't play DraftKings. I mean, you should play. Maybe you'll kill it a little bit there. I've never played NBA, any other sport other than the NFL. I have an account, an original account that I've had maybe for 4 years or 5 years now, and I only play NFL football on it. And I decided to give it a stab. I say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I entered one of the tournaments he mentioned to me last night. I finished in 51st or something. I'll have that. I'll put it up as far as I placed well there, 51st place, but it wasn't cash. You have to be in the top 30. I think it was for $750 was the tourney, and it was a single entry. And I finished in 51st first time around. But I did a $40 or whatever is $100 for first place, a small tourney. I think it was only like maybe 300 or 400 players, and I finished in 7th place. for the first time out there ever, and I cashed about $4 or $5. I'll put those pictures up. I'll take snapshots of all these things, and I also played MLB After Hours, and I think I pulled out $4 or $5 there too. Just made the cut, doing an After Hours event. But all that information I'll put up on the new DFS Zone fan page, Facebook page, which I mentioned to you guys earlier in the stream, in the live stream, and as well as on my Instagram and Twitter and my regular Facebook page. All right, guys. But this was just an incredible night, for the WNBA. And again, it comes to show you that, hey, this is why we play the games. You just never know what's going to happen. You never know when Davy could beat Goliath. And you always have that Cinderella and that, the thrill of victory and agony of defeat. And this is the agony of defeat big time for Los Angeles and for Vegas for having them 15-point underdogs. I would have taken that. I think 15 points was a little high, but I really thought LA was going to definitely dominate this game, and man, it was just terrible. Candace Parker did play well, and like I had told you guys, if Indiana could keep it close, then it'll be good to pick Candace Parker, and she had an absolutely good game for LA, keeping it close and putting herself in position, and not only that, for fantasy players who chose her, that she will get you some, she'll be able to put up some good fantasy points. So again, I was right on that. But let's dive into these games. We got Washington and New York. We got two games. Remember, one game is at 3 p.m. and the other game is at 10 p.m. So brutal. This is the reason it is 3:25 in the morning New York time. I went out, did some things. I was out, came back in, took a nap. Realized, oh man, I've been sleeping too long. Got up and I said, hey, I already prepped myself for everything that I needed to do to share a video with you guys. There's no live stream tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to get this. Is gonna be probably a little lengthy for two games, but I'm gonna give you some information that I normally give my viewers on the live stream as of late. I'm gonna try to give you some of that information to help you make better decisions tomorrow for your lineups. All right, guys. So Washington at New York. We have implied totals for this game at the moment, 164.5 total points, with Washington favored by 4. Washington is coming in 13-10, 1-4 over the course of the last 5 games, and they are 0-3 on the road. They come in 4th in scoring at 84.3 points per game, 8th in pace at 79.8, pretty much 80 possessions per game, 8th in field goal percentage at 43.9. I round that off right away to 44%. 6th in three-point shooting at 35.4, 8th in rebounding at 32.8 rebounds per game, 11th in assists at 17 assists per game, 4th in steals at 7.3, 6th in blocks with 3.9, pretty much 4 blocks a game. Percentage points from 2, they're 11th in the league at 51.9%, and percentage points from 3, which I'm starting to add on to the statistics now for you guys, they're 2nd in the league at 28.9%. All right. Points per game given up to guards defensively, they've been giving up 32.4 points per game. That's 5th in the league, and they're 7th in points per game given up to forwards and centers at 49.8, pretty much 50 points per game. On the other side of the ball, the home team, New York is 7-16 in the season. They're 2-3 over the course of the last 5 games, and they are 1-1 in that stretch at home. They come in 10th in the league in points, scoring at 78.7 points per game. They are 9th in pace, 79.4. That's pretty much 79 possessions a game. Pretty much most of the top, bottom 4, 5, 6 teams of the league are pretty much in that same range as far as pace. The upper echelon teams are pretty much Dallas, Seattle, Connecticut. They're more of the faster paced teams, usually about 82. Vegas is the top team at about 83, 84 possessions a game. So not too much difference from 5th or 6th place down as far as pace is concerned. Something for you guys to remember. Field goal percentage, they're 10th in the league at 43.2%, 9th in three-point shooting at 32.4%, 7th in rebounding with 33 rebounds per game. They're 6th in assists with 19.7 assists per game, pretty much almost 20 assists per game for New York. They are a tie for 4th in steals with 7.3 steals per game. They're 10th in blocks with 2.5 blocks per game. They are not a good blocking team. Percentage points from 2, they're 7th in the league, shooting 57.9%, pretty much close to 58% shooting. Percentage points from 3, they're 6th in the league at 25.7%. Points per game given up to guards. They're sixth in the league. They've moved up a little bit from ninth and 10th. They're at 35.3 points per game given up to guards, and they're fifth in points per game given up to forwards at 48.5 points per game. All right, a couple key things that I want to share with you before I go over the players. New York coming in, they're 10th in scoring at 78.3. But a key thing here to remember, their opposition has been averaging 84 points per game on them. So that's about a 6 point, minus 6 there on the over and under. And then we come over, Washington is 84.3 points per game, and they're allowing the opposition only 82.4 points per game. So that pretty much is a little high on their side, giving New York the opportunity to maybe be able to get about 80 points on them. So this game is gonna be a little bit closer, and I think Vegas has it about right with the 3-4 points. I think they have Washington favored by 4. I think they're about right there. When it comes to field goal percentage, New York is 43.9%. Take notation of this. I told you it was going to be a little more lengthier, but listen to me out. 45.3% is what they've been giving up to the opposition. So the opposition has been shooting well from the floor. And then when you look at that's Washington. When New York, they're 10th at 43.2%. They have room there to be able to stretch it out against Washington, with Washington pretty much giving their opponents 45.3%. If they could shoot a little bit better, they'll be all right. New York, on the other hand, their opposition is shooting about the same as they're shooting, 43.8. So they're doing a good job defensively, and at 43.8 percentage rate for field goal shooting for the opposition. When you look at Washington, they're at 43.9, so pretty much right there. So they're right in the range of making this pretty close as far as how well. So you definitely are looking at targeting who are the best shooters and who takes the most shots. Okay, so then you got to start looking at it that way. Then with three-point shooting, we know Washington is fairly decent there. New York comes in 32.4% from three-point range, and they give the opposition, they give up 34.9%. That's a 2% difference as far as what they give to their opponent. And their opponent in this game is Washington. They are 8th in shooting three-pointers at 32.8, pretty much 33%, and that's close to that 34.8 that New York is pretty much giving. And then Washington, no different. They have been, coughing up 33.9%, pretty much 34% from three. So I see both teams with their guards here in this matchup. I definitely like both teams' guards. I kind of been leaning a little bit more towards the New York guards. We're gonna get to that in a moment. And then another key area that I like here is also the points per game, percentage points from two. New York is 11th, like I mentioned before, at 51.9%, pretty much 52%, but they've been giving up a whopping 57.3% of two-point shots are being taken by their opposition in their games. That's a difference of almost 5.5%. So that is huge. That gives New York an opportunity if they're up as far as field goal percentage, and they actually are. New York is 7th in percentage points from two, so they take a lot of shots from the two-point area, and they're converting at 57.9% of their plays are coming from two during the course of the game, and that's exactly where Washington has been coughing up to their opponents, which I said 57.3. So I hope you're catching all that, and then that is a 6% increase for Washington, because Washington defending against their opposition only coughing up 51.5%, which is pretty much equivalent to what New York, is coughing up 51.5%, and that's pretty much what Washington is averaging at 51.9. So there is an opportunity here for New York to make this game not only close, but also to be able to pull it out if their field goal best shooting field goal shooters do shoot the rock fairly well tomorrow. Okay, and that's pretty much it, man, that I have here as far as those notes. Other than that, percentage points from three, Washington is very good in that area. They're second in the league at 28.9, pretty much 29% of their plays are coming from three. We know that, all right. The opposition is only converting at a 23.4%. So they definitely have a 5% advantage there. And when you look on the other side of the ball, New York is coming in sixth in that area at 25.7%. That is actually 2% higher than what Washington normally gives the opposition. But then again, New York also coughs it up 26.7% of the time. So something's got to give tomorrow. Is either New York's best three-point shooters are going to perform better than Washington's three-point shooters when they have those opportunities, because they will have those opportunities, because that's part of their offense for both teams, getting a couple of looks from three pretty much every game. And then you're looking at Washington, who converts a little bit better in that area. Maybe that's a Christy Tolliver situation. Maybe a Ariel Atkins, who is here as a guard, but we know that she plays forward. So let's just dive in. I'm looking at the players, man. Brittany Boyd, I definitely think she's in play tomorrow. I kind of like the New York guards tomorrow. Later on today, I'm saying tomorrow. It's 3:35 in the morning. I'm a bit tired. But Brittany Boyd is in play. 6,200. You pretty much need 31 from her. That's a high number for her, but she's capable of getting there. She's had a couple of 30 points or better games. She got a 39 here and 34, so she's been able to do that 2 out of the last 3 games. And she did that when she has played 21 minutes to as much as 25 minutes. As you can see, she's been as high as 27 minutes. And when she plays those amount of minutes, she has the opportunity. She's going to get more opportunity because we have those injuries. You know, Zealous is starting forward for New York. She's another one of those girls here that should be on the forward category here in Fanduel, and she's actually labeled as a guard. She does play guard once in a while, but she's mostly has played for New York as a small forward. With Prince going down here, I can see Boyd, definitely Bria Hartley, definitely in play tomorrow. Christy Tolliver in play as well. You know, Christy, she could step up at any time. Hands down, I think that tomorrow the guard play is all a matter of who is going to be able to shoot the ball the best as far as percentage-wise, and as well as shooting the ball from 3. And girls like Christy Tolliver takes a few shots per game from 3. Ariel Atkins is another. So all these girls are all in play for me tomorrow. I really like all 4 of these girls. I don't know who am I going to go with just yet. Bit tired right now, but I will look out over all this stuff. Right now, the numbers are showing that New York may have a little bit of an advantage tomorrow, and I kind of like the fact that with Prince being out, Hartley, as well as a sleepy, a nice sleeper play here would be Kia Nurse at 4K. So definitely don't, forget about Kia Nurse here. Natasha Cloud, if she comes back, definitely I will like her a lot here at 4,900. She's coming from a concussion, still game time decision. We'll stay on top of that. You guys should stay on top of that. The game is only several hours away, but there's a good chance she's probably not playing. And if she's not, then definitely I will like Ariel Atkins, Polly Moore. It's because of the upside potential that she could put 40 plus than having Christy Tolliver. But Christy Tolliver is a solid 3-point shooter, and she gets up for some of these games. And considering that Washington is in a position where they need to win because they've been playing so poorly, maybe this is a game that she explodes for a good 35 or better. Other than that, girl coming down here, I already tried the Monique Curry situation the other day. It didn't pan out for me, so I'm not on her. I'm not on Pratt. Sugar Rogers could be a possibility. 3,919, not too bad. I don't know what she's been averaging. I think maybe around 11 or 12. She is at 11. And, man, I just don't know. 2.80. Got a 17 spot here in 16 minutes. That's fine. I need to see more. I just don't know. Let's go over the forwards. Elena Delle Donne, definitely in play, guys. 8,500, you need 42. She's averaging 38. 4 out of the last 5 games, 39 plus or better. All right. She had a 41 spot in her last game against New York. So we know that she's, she can definitely get busy there. 33 minutes, 41.6. The game before that, 33 minutes, 35 spots. So both games, 1 fantasy point per minute. Obviously greater than 1 fantasy point per minute in both of those games. So she's definitely a solid play. She's in a matchup where she's going to be able to do well. She already has played the team twice. I forgot to tell you guys, these teams have played each other twice, and Washington has won both games. So I apologize for that. I usually tell you that at the beginning. Again, it's 3:35 in the morning. I'm pretty tired. 80-77 game 1. Game 2, 86-67. Both games won by Washington. I think New York could be a very, very, sneaky team tomorrow. After seeing what I've seen today, anything is possible tomorrow. But Elena Delle Donne is definitely in play. And just a couple of other notations here, man. Washington, I take notes of the last 3 games. Sometimes I go 4 or 5. But in the last 3 games, Washington's front court has been averaging 57.3 fantasy points per game. Just overall points, their front court. So they've been dominating the last 3 games. And those games were against Dallas, Atlanta, and Chicago. All with decent front courts, especially Atlanta and Dallas. And they did fairly well there. They did lose 2 out of those 3 games. But their opposition, I found that they kept out. The opposition definitely did well against their front court. 54.3 points per game, while they were averaging 57.3. So Dallas, as well as Atlanta and Washington and Chicago, definitely gave them a battle up front. All right. On the flip side, guards, 23.6 points per game in those 3 games for Washington. That is very low. They did not play well, the guards, in the course of the last 3 games, and their opposition was outplaying them with 26 points per game. So definitely I like New York guards also because of this statistic here. I always look at 3 or 4 games because you definitely will get more of a broad understanding of where teams are at during the course of the last maybe 3 games, 4 games, or 5 games they have played. So this is why I'm sharing those, because that's pretty much the way I gauge everything, and I take it from there. New York, on the other hand, 47.6 points per game, giving up their scoring in the front court, which is obviously a lot lower than what Washington has been averaging in the last 3 games. And their opposition is pulling in 53.3 points per game, so that will lead you to believe that Washington, with Deladon and Sanders, have a possibility to put up maybe 30 to 40 points between the both of them. So I kind of like those 2 girls, and I definitely love Sanders. She had an awesome game the other day. If it wasn't for her butchering and being such a hacker, she would have probably put up a 50 spot or better for me. Guard-wise, New York, 39.6. They've been, now this is an important number, they've been putting up as a team. These 3 games were against Atlanta, Dallas, and Chicago, New York, and they put up 39.6 points per game on average in those 3 games, the guards. That's nearly 40 points among the guards. And I could see Hartley, I could see Kia Nurse, and I could see definitely Brittany Boyd stepping it up a little bit more tomorrow. If they're going to be in that range, they have a shot to definitely score better in the backcourt than Washington going into tomorrow's game. And then the only concern will be Washington, New York dealing with the front court of Sanders and Deladon, who are the key 2 players up front, and of course Ariel Atkins, who plays small forward. All right, so those numbers are important. I wanted to share that with you. So Deladon, Tina Charles is in play for New York. Obviously, she's the only front court player that I like from New York. 8,200, pretty much 40, 41. You need about 41. She's not been getting 41, but if she's at least near 33, I'll be happy with that. Last 2 games, not even in the 30 range, but she was in 33 range once, twice, 3, 4 times over the last 6 games. So I'll give her the benefit of doubt that she'll have a better game against Washington already. She put up a 43 spot in the first game, in the last game, and the prior game, 31 minutes, 33 fantasy points. So 1 fantasy point per minute in both meetings against Washington. So hey, you know what, she has a shot. This may be a nice game to stack and be able to stick these 2 girls and let them battle it out. If you can squeeze out, I'm sure if I work on it, I haven't worked on my lineups yet. As you can see, I entered 3. Probably might enter 1 or 2 more by the time the morning comes. Oh my God, it's 3:40 in the morning. I'm so tired. But anyway, Tina Charles definitely in play, guys. Latoya Sanders, 6,000. Definitely love her there. You need 30. And she's been pretty solid. Obviously, the last game she had an amazing game. If it wasn't for her having personal foul problems, she would have been okay. But 47 spot in 21 minutes, man, she was just explosive. She was just tearing it up. 25 floor points in 21 minutes. And the only reason she only played 21, like I said, she was in foul trouble throughout the whole game. But everything she touched and everything she shot was just money. 30, 30 in the previous 2 games, so 30 plus in 3 straight games for Latoya Sanders. Prior games against New York, 24 minutes here, 26 spot, 24 minutes in the game prior to that, 22.7. Man, I just need her to go out there and give me 30. I think she can do it. We already know she has 40-point upside. So matchup is pretty darn good. It's her. She's got to deal with Marissa Coleman, Miss Kia Vaughn. Between her and Ariel Atkins and Deladon, I think they definitely have the more dominant front court team. So they should definitely, at least on paper, they should definitely have the advantage. Moving on further, I'm not on anybody else. I'm not on Coleman, Kia Vaughn. I'm just not interested in any one of those girls. So that's pretty much it for this game. I wish I could give you even more stuff, but I know I've already been yapping quite a bit. And then we find ourselves going here longer than we need to, and you guys don't stick around long enough to listen to all this stuff. Again, you could always stop it It's a video. You can always listen to it for 15, 20 minutes, then come back, listen to it 15, 20 minutes, finish the last 15 minutes or whatever it may be right after. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, last year and the years before when I listened to people, that's what I did. So it's no different. I mean, I know some people don't like to have somebody go so long, but Minnesota at Phoenix, I just try to give you as much info as possible because that is so important. All right, implied totals for Minnesota at Phoenix is a 160.5 Phoenix favorite at home by just one. This is going to be a very intriguing game. Minnesota comes in, before I even forget, they have played each other twice and have split. Game 2, Minnesota won the game 83-72. The first game of the season, Phoenix won 95-85. Okay, coming into the game, Minnesota is 13-10. In the last 5 games, they're 2-3. Definitely under 500. I noticed a lot of these better teams have been under 500 the last week or so. They are 1-1 during that stretch on the road. Phoenix is 15-9, 3-2 over the course of the last 5 games played, and they're 2-1 in that stretch at home, and they have another game at home, obviously, in this one. So, team stats: Phoenix comes in 5th in scoring at 83.6 points per game, 6th in pace at 80.4. 3rd in field goal percentage at 45.3%, 2nd in three-point shooting at 35.8%, 11th in rebounding with 32 rebounds per game, 3rd in assists, 20.4 assists per game. They're dead last in steals at 6.2 steals per game, 1st in block shots at 5 blocks per game. Percentage points from 2, they're dead last, 50.4%, but remember, they are going to be better in percentage points from 3, which they happen to be number 1. 29.2% from 3. Defensive side of the ball, points per game given up to guards. They're 6th in the league at 32 points per game, surrendering to guards. Points per game given up to forwards and centers. They are 2nd right now. Very, very good up front as of late. 45.8 points per game. On the other side of the ball, Minnesota is 9th in scoring at 79 points per game, 10th in pace at 79 possessions per game, 6th in field goal percentage at 44.7%, 4th in three-point shooting at 35.5%, 5th in rebounding at 35.9%, 5th in assists at 19.8 assists per game, 7th in steals at 6.9 steals per game, 11th in blocks at 2.7 per game. They are 3rd in percentage points from 2, 61.3% of their shots come from 2. 10th in points per percentage points from 3, 20.9%, pretty much 21%. Defensive side of the ball for Minnesota, points per game given up to guards, they are 8th, giving up 33.1 points, pretty much just 33 points per game. And then points per game given up to forwards and centers, they are number 1 in defending that at 40.8 points per game. Okay, some interesting numbers here. On points here, Phoenix, like I said, they're 5th, scoring 83.6 points per game. They're only surrendering to their opponents 80.9, so they have an advantage. They have about 2.5 points. On the other side of the ball, Minnesota, 79 points per game. They're giving up only 78.8 points per game. So this is going to be, they have implied totals of 160.5. This is going to be a low-scoring game. Probably more so like the last game they played where it was 83-72 as opposed to the 95-85 from game 1. I don't see this being a high-scoring game. Minnesota has definitely tightened it up defensively all over the court, not only from the back court to the front court, all over. They've been really, really tough, so we'll see how that pans out. As far as pace, like I said, most of these teams are pretty much around the same pace. If you're not, there's no, the Aces and Dallas Wings and the Connecticut Sun are pretty much the high-paced teams. 83 to 84 possessions a game. Field goal percentage, I see here, Phoenix is 3rd at 45.3%, and they're only coughing up to the opposition 42%. So that's a positive 3% there. And on the other side of the ball, Minnesota is 44.7%, and they're holding down the opposition to 43.9%. So they're pretty close there in the field goal percentage rate. 4th. The three-point shooting is critical here. Minnesota is 4th at 35.5%. They're only coughing up 32% to the opposition. Phoenix being the 2nd best shooting team, 35.8, just pretty much even with Minnesota as far as three-point shooting. And they evenly are giving out the same to the opposition at 35.1. Other areas to consider here, 5th in rebounding. Minnesota is 5th at 35.9, pretty much 36 rebounds a game. They are basically just allowing 31 rebounds per game. So that's a positive 5 rebounds more additional over the opposition. Phoenix, as we know, they are terrible at rebounding, and they coughing up 35 rebounds a game, where they're only rebounding 32 per game. So definitely a negative aspect there for the Phoenix Sun, and it's definitely a positive with Rebecca Brunson, fouls, and of course Maya Moore up front. Steals and blocks, I'm not going to get too much into that. We know Phoenix is the better blocking team. That's pretty much just Griner. The percentage points from two, third for Minnesota at 61.3%. They're basically giving up 60% to the opposition. So it's, they only have a 1% advantage there. And then Phoenix is not that good at, they're that last in that same category at 50.4%. But they've been coughing up 57.4%. Which is still below the average of Minnesota. So something's got to give here in that aspect. Percentage points from three, we know that that's a specialty for Phoenix. Most of their offense revolves around 3-point shots, and they pretty much close. As you can see, first at 29.2, that's pretty much almost close to 30% of their shots from three during the course of a game, and they're only surrendering up only 22.5% to the opposition. So that's like a positive 7.5. So they're definitely a good there, whereas Minnesota is 20.9 and they're coughing up 24.7% to the opposition. So I think Phoenix has a definite advantage there with Taurasi. She's just, not only field goal percentage wise, but also 3-point shooting. All right, let's dive into the game. I know it's a lot of info, but I wanted to, this is information that I share with my viewers in the live stream, and I figured let me just squeeze this stuff in there and just give you something to really think about and actually go and crunch some numbers with. Let's go to the guards. Another thing to go over, in the last 3 games, Minnesota is 1-2, and these are the numbers I have for them in the 3 games. They played against Indiana, Connecticut, and Las Vegas in their last 3 meetings. They're 1-2 during that stretch. All the 3 games were at home. Minnesota finished, their front court finished with 48.3 on average points per game during that 3-game stretch. Their guards performed at 28.3 points per game, but the opposition pretty much outplayed them in the guard position. So then again, this is where Taurasi and the backcourt of Phoenix could be a dangerous situation for Minnesota. Minnesota gave up 35.6 points per game over that same stretch, so that's 7 points more than what they normally average. The opposition put up 42.6 points per game from the forward and center spot, so they actually were less than Minnesota's front court, and I pretty much suspect the same thing. This is a matter of the battle of the front court and the back court. Who's going to dominate more? Is it going to be the back court with Taurasi? Okay, maybe Yvonne Turner is going to play a little bit more because now Leilani Mitchell is going away, I think, to another country and play in some sort of tournament or something like that she was obligated for, so she's going to be out for a couple of games. So I think there's going to be an uptick there definitely for Turner, and possibly January hopefully getting her spot back because she lost her spot in my eyes. When it goes to Phoenix, just another couple notations. Phoenix over their last 3 games were against Vegas, Indiana, and Connecticut. They put up 51.6 points from their front court, and their back court produced 38.3 points during the course of that stretch. The opposition, they held them down to 45.3 points per game. That is fantastic because they come in pretty much in second and putting in 45.7. So they are right on point during the course of the last 3 games. They have kept that average just perfect. Okay, in Minnesota the same. So something's got to give. Like I said, it's either one of these girls are going to have a big game or somebody in the backcourt is going to have a big game to be able to get one of the teams over the top in this particular matchup. The opposition, Phoenix, coughed up only Phoenix, like I said, put up 51.6 in the front court, 38.3 in the backcourt. Their opposition only 45.3 in the front court, and their guards the guards definitely performed slightly a little better than Phoenix's guards. So 40.3 points given up by Phoenix to the guards. So definitely that is definitely a difference of at least 2 or 3 points per game during the stretch of those 3 games. All right, so we'll see if that's going to be any factor here because Minnesota really doesn't have a strong backcourt. All right, enough with all that. Diana Taurasi in play, of course, 8,000, you need 40, and she's good for it. She's absolutely good for it. So Diana Taurasi is in play. I don't think I need to go over anything else with her. She is easily one of the top scorers in the league. I'm gonna just share it real quickly. All right, Taurasi. She is at 40% 3-point shooter, taking about 8.5 threes a game on average. Okay, and she's scoring 20 points a game and taking basically 13 shots per game. So it's an integral part of this offense. Between her, Griner, and Bonner, they're taking 39 to 40 shots a game, and they're scoring at a clip on average of about 56, 57 points per game just within those three. So you know they got a chance of having at least 57 to 58 points from those three girls on the floor. Okay, so Taurasi definitely in play. All right, Dewana Bonner, same thing, in play, 7,700. It's a 2-game slate, guys, so pretty much everybody who's a stud is going to be in play. It's just a matter of who and how you match them up. Remember, anything can happen here. You may think you have the most solid lineup, and the next thing you know, you have something like a Chicago-Indiana situation like happened last night. So 32, 32, 36, been solid the last 3 games. Look at those massive minutes. Dewana Bonner, remember, she's on Fanduel. I say it over and over again. She is the starting small forward for Phoenix all year long. She is not in the backcourt, okay? But Fanduel has her as a guard, not as a forward. So remember, if you decide to take her, you're basically looking at, am I getting value at forward, okay? And chances are, 7, 8 times out of 10, you definitely are, because she's capable of giving you 40 or better. So she has nice upside. I think Taurasi slightly a little bit better tomorrow, but I always look at Bonner as a forward, so I'm already looking at to see if she's valuable for the slate in a 2-game slate like this as a forward. Simone Augustus, I'm not on Augustus. I may consider Turner. We already see that Mitchell is here with the personal. She's out. That's basically it. She went to play in another country in some sort of tournament or something. Turner, only 11 minutes in the last game, but she was averaging 16 through 23 minutes over the last 4 games, and she's at 10. At 4,400, you really need 22, and she hasn't had 22 since back here against Connecticut, where she had 3 nice games in a row. So I don't know. I mean, if she, I look at it as if they definitely gonna give her a little bit more time on the floor. And if it's not going to be her, it's going to obviously be Brianna January. So, Brianna January. So we'll see. I mean, I favor her a little bit more than January, at least as of late. I would go with Turner more than January. In the Minnesota side of the ball, Lindsay Whalen is probably the only person I would consider here guard. And that's just, I'm not on Lindsay Whalen. You guys know I've told you time and time again I don't care for her. But she has been playing a little bit better. And this is a 2-game slate. And if you're looking for someone low in price, mid-tier or low tier in pricing, she's there. At 4,300, you pretty much need 21, 22. And she has 30-point upside, as you can see here. She has been playing a little bit more minutes here. Last 3 games, 21 and 27. Only played 13 minutes here against Indiana, but they just blew out Indiana. They probably didn't need her a whole lot there. And she did play 15 minutes here against Indiana the previous time and got 17 fantasy points per minute. So I don't know. For me, she is definitely in play as a possible value. All right. Danielle Robinson has not been meeting value, so I'm not on her. I'm not on January. Maybe sneaky play, Tanisha Wright. Maybe someone to consider. You need 15 from her. She's averaging 8. And let me just see real quickly here. 8. Yeah, I like the minutes. 13, just not enough points. 19 here and 13 here, so we know she can get close to 20. She'll give us 4x here. If she can get in that 19-20 range, I'll be happy with that. Yeah, I think you guys could squeeze her in there somehow. When I look at these games, also, I don't see too much. I could see myself making multiple lineups and having one game stack of Washington, New York, and making another lineup where at least 5 players are coming out of the Minnesota Phoenix game. If I could squeeze them in, 5 solid plays, I'll do that. So I would recommend, if you are playing multiple lineups, I can definitely see where you could stack Minnesota Phoenix and Washington, New York as game stacks, and then utilize 4 and 3. A 4-3, within the 2 games, having 4 from one and 3 from the other. All right, I'm not on anybody else here. Like I said, I think on a lower tier here, a little value play, maybe Tanisha Wright. Over here, forwards, Brittany Griner in play. This is a very interesting area because Griner, Fowles, Moore, Brunson, they're all in play, Little, okay? On the bottom end here, the only one I really like in the bottom is Angel Robinson. I think that she is going to be definitely a nice value play. So I would definitely see myself trying to squeeze her in there somehow and be able to get value. So this way I can stack up on maybe 2 of these girls up here. And I think that you guys should be solely listen. Again, I gave you the numbers. Both of these teams up front have been very, very tough over the course of the last 3 games as far as defending forwards and centers. But something's got to give. Someone is going to have a big game, and I wouldn't even be surprised if 2 girls have at least decent games, meaning 40 or better. So Brittany Griner is in play. There's no doubt about it. Okay, Brittany Griner, you'll have here 8,700. You need pretty much 43, 44 from her. She's averaging 40, and the minutes have just been great over the last 3 games. She had a 54 spot here, 35 in 34 minutes. I can take that. 34 in 34 minutes. I can take that. She definitely has the upside. She can get you 50 plus. She's been up at 60 before. Last game against Minnesota. Let's see what she did here. Minnesota, 35 minutes, put a 41 spot. And in the first game of the season, 47 in 37 minutes. Hey, she's had 2 40-plus games against this team. So I don't see it. Now, granted, Minnesota in the last few games has really been tougher. They've been a little bit more, tighter with their defense in the last 3 or 4 games. So, but I still think that Brittany Griner and possibly one of these other girls are going to have nice games. I can see her getting 40 plus. She has the upside. And I can see Fowles having the same thing, both battling each other for the top spot of the night as far as who's going to score up front. Sylvia Fowles, 8,500. You need pretty much about 42, 43 from her to cover. She did have a massive 58 spot here in 29 minutes against Indiana. And, she was suffering a little bit with 30 and 31, but she's definitely has 50 plus upside. And, last 2 times against this team, let's see here. Phoenix, 40 spot in 26 minutes. That is incredible. That's almost, 1.3, almost 1.40 fantasy points per minute. The game before that, 36 minutes, 30 points. All right, so she had a little downer here, but 16, 11, and 2 are very respectable. I mean, Silva, she's a good player. She's one of the best scorers in the league, man. I mean, what more can I tell you? She's definitely someone you should consider. There's no doubt about it. Maya Moore, she's been suffering a little bit more. I probably would fade Maya Moore a little bit tomorrow, and then what? I'll fade her, and she'll go up and put 40 plus. She's good for 35, pretty much 40. Anywhere between 35 and 38, she's on average. She's pretty good. She's had a couple 40 plus games. Hasn't really hit 50, I think, this year. So I would say she's high 40 to 45 is the best she could get. But she is a steady, maybe I would say 33 to 36 fantasy points. She's been a little low in the minutes, 24 and 25 the last couple of games, but she's capable of getting back going here, getting 32 to 35 minutes, and probably putting 35 to 38 fantasy points. She won't get the 40, but as long as she's in that 32 to almost 40 range, anybody will take that in a 2-game slate. I would, but we're always looking for a little bit upside, and the upside here is I would be willing to pay $500 more and get a little bit more value, knowing that maybe Sylvia Fowles or Brittany Griner could get me 50 plus, where Maya Moore normally doesn't get near 50. Maybe 40, 45 might be tops for her. Rebecca Brunson, 5,800. Now that she's back, I think her minutes will go up in this next game. She did play on the first game back on the last game, and she played 20 minutes, only had 5 rebounds and 1 assist, only 7.5 fantasy points, did have 3 big turnovers. That does not help, but it was the first game back. They were blowing out Indiana, and that was a good game for her to get back in there and just get in the flow back of the offense after missing 3 games. But I expect her to be full speed ahead going into tomorrow. All right, this is a good matchup. She's facing a strong team, a team that's up there in the top, and Minnesota's going to want to show, hey, you know what, we can go into your home court and beat you. And Rebecca Brunson is capable of being very dynamic. So I like her here. Definitely a nice play at 5,800. You pretty much need 27, 28 from her. She's averaging 21. And prior to her time off, she was pretty much averaging, she had a 30, 35 here, 36 here. She's capable of getting you 35 to 36. I think she could get you 25 to 30 easy tomorrow. Coming down lower at the bottom end here, Camille Little, 3,900. You need 19. You could consider Camille. 17 here. 21, 19, so 17 plus in 3 out of the last 5 games. But this is what bothers me. 27 minutes here, 27 minutes here. What, they're giving her a break in between? These were 2 tough games. She should have been playing more. She only got 11 here and 13 here against Connecticut. With their front court, I don't get it. It's just, this is what, puzzles me about how the coaching staffs, work in this rotation with players. And she starts, and then she's starting and only playing 11 minutes. It's just surprising. Very scary thought, but she's in play. I kind of like Angel Robinson more. I think in her case, the flip-flopping in time, we'll look at Angel's time, is because Angel Robinson is playing so well. So you see, the flip-flopping, 27 is because Angel was playing so well here. They kept Angel in here. So if Camille is playing well, she'll stay in. I think I like more the upside with Angel Robinson, and she's cheaper. I'm willing, 14, 15 you need from her here. She's averaging 7.5, and she's been picking it up in the last 5 games. 14 here, 20 here, 27, 12, and 21. So she had 20 plus in 3 out of the last maybe 5 games. Angel Robinson is definitely a nice play, value play at 3,200. In the bottom half, Gulich, I'm not, Mayim, I'm not into any of those girls. That's pretty much it. Cecilia's not going to get the same amount of minutes. Same thing, maybe Fag Benley, maybe Fag Beanie. Fag Benley will probably get still a little bit of time, even though Rebecca Brunson is back. It all depends on how Rebecca's playing. If she's playing well, they'll probably put her 25 to 30 minutes easy going into tomorrow. Yeah, as you can see, she's back. She already only played 3 minutes. So yeah, tough break for her. But yeah, I think the best play is definitely, concentrating on Sylvia Fowles and Griner in this matchup. That's pretty much it, guys. That is pretty much it. I wish I was able to do a live stream, and get a little bit more stuff down for you guys. But that's basically it. I will just do a little bit of diving for myself tomorrow when I get up. It is now 4 o'clock in the morning, New York time, so I am very tired. I want to take a shower and get to bed. But again, I want to thank those that come on to the live stream. I started doing the live stream, and I actually have been enjoying doing it now. I'm going to do everything I can to be on as often as I possibly can. I've made some pretty good relationships thus far with a few of you guys out there that have communicated with me in Instagram or Twitter, and of course, communicating with me and actually interacting with me on the live stream. So definitely appreciate all of you guys, man. It's been a nice ride. So we'll keep it going. Like I said earlier in the live stream, I started a Facebook page for DFS Zone. I will be putting articles in there, little clips I'll be putting up my pictures of results there, just like I do on Instagram and Twitter, and discuss all kind of things pertaining to sports, and of course moving on further going into later in the year. We got the NFL coming up in the next 2 months, and of course basketball will be back in mid-October, the NBA. So it's just going to be a great year at DFS Zone, and I'm going to do everything I can to provide you with the best possible information so that myself